Welcome to the May 18th, 2010 meeting of the Tuckahoe Planning Board. Nancy, will you take the attendance, please?
Commissioner Narenberg.
Present.
Commissioner Cannell.
Present.
Commissioner Caliano.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Present.
Commissioner Reyes-Vieira.
Here.
Chairwoman Jermel.
Present. We'll start by asking for a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of April 20th, 2010. Do we have a
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. On our agenda tonight, we have 3 adjourned items. One is 100 Main Street, 138 Columbus Avenue, and 6 Fisher Avenue. These are all adjourned. And we have with us tonight 2 items, which are 395 Columbus Avenue for site plan and 223 Marbledale Road for a subdivision. We will start with 223 Marbledale Road subdivision.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jack Hughes. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Grazia Realty LLC. As we discussed at the work session, we are seeking to subdivide what is shown as Lot 1D on the map. We're looking to subdivide the lot that's shown on the map as Lot IK, approximate area of 25,102 square feet. There's no variances that are required with this subdivision. Our intent is just to use this subdivided lot in conjunction with Rocco's Service Station, which has been in business on Marbledale Road for quite a period of time. Probably use it for parking, which will have the added benefit of relieving some of the parking congestion on Marbledale. So that's about it. If there's any questions.
Are you applying because you are purchasing the lot from the owner?
Yes,
Is that what's...
He's a contract vendee. We
Okay.
submitted a copy of the contract previously.
Okay, good. As we look at this, when the property is subdivided, you will have property that extends behind the marble place as well as behind your own establishment and the business next to you, correct? Is this property all going to be used by you, the owner, when you purchase it? You're not renting any space to anybody or using it for parking for any other business?
No, it's going to be used in conjunction with...
Only
Rocco's.
for your business?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Would it be helpful to put their version of the map on the easel? Or
Yes,
not?
so the folks at home can see it, yes.
Okay, sure.
Good point.
And then make the microphone available to him if there are further comments.
Does this have a feature where you can hang it, or?
No, usually if you just rest it like that or fold it in half lengthwise, it'll
Emery, just for
suffice.
clarification, before they do anything with the property, they need to come back to you to get site plan approval. What we're seeking is
Thank you.
the subdivision. So there's be no use of the property until they come back for site plan approval.
Okay.
So is this good, or do you want me to go through this again? or-
Yeah, well, that's as good as it's going to get in terms
Right,
of...
well, here's Lot 1D, which is really the entire lot. What's being subdivided is this portion right here. Has some frontage on it, and that's identified as Lot IK, 25,102 square feet. And Rocco's is Lot 7, right here, shown on the map. So, and we'll also be seeking to merge these lots together. That's going to be, I guess, there's another application if the subdivision is approved.
Okay.
Okay, and the access to that back lot is provided by that little pathway that generically described as pathway right
There's a
there?
driveway here, yes.
All right, so that's the access from the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I have no problem.
Nothing further.
I don't have any questions.
I make a motion that we accept the application as submitted.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
I'd like to make a motion to that we make the acceptance of the application contingent on the merging of proposed Lot IK with Lot 7. If we can do that. I understand there's a separate application process for that, but I think from our point of view, we want to see those merged as one lot and prevent the kind of flag lot. So if we can make that contingent on,
You can, and it's a simple thing. What happens is, I'll send a letter up to the tax assessor merging the lots as soon as everything's in order and it's all signed by everybody.
okay,
It's not a separate application for the planning board. We do that right inside the building department,
okay.
so we can do that right away. And the only other thing is make sure that we get on the record about the rec fee.
The what, I'm sorry?
The rec fee for the
Recreation.
subdivision.
Oh, yes, yes, when there's a subdivision, there's a 10% recreation fee. Or 10% of the property can be used for recreational purposes by the public. May we assume that you would take the 10% recreational fee?
Yes, you can
Okay.
assume that we're taking the 10% vacation.
All right.
With that, we probably should resubmit
Mhm.
the motion.
Okay. John, do you have any questions, or?
The only other thing is just at the conclusion of your motion, you should adopt a negative declaration pursuant to secret.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have
Should we do
support-
that first?
Do we have support for that negative declaration?
It would be a finding that the subdivision would not have significant environmental impacts on the surrounding neighborhood.
Should we do that now before we
You
do?
would do that at the conclusion of your...
At the conclusion of the, okay, fine. Okay. Do we have can you take a vote for approval of the motion with the amendment to it? Nancy?
Commissioner Nierenberg,
Four.
Commissioner Canal,
In favor.
Commissioner Paliano,
In support of it, yes.
Commissioner Miller,
4.
Commissioner Reyes Guerra,
No, excuse me. She's an alternate.
Chairwoman Jeremel.
In favor. Okay. Now, do we have a motion for
Negative declaration
negative, yes?
and the recreation fee, or just a neg deck?
Well, I believe the recreation fee is automatic,
Okay,
isn't it,
that's
Mr.?
in there. I make a motion that we declare a
Callahan?
negative declaration as far as the environmental impact goes.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
That's it?
I think we're finished.
Okay, so we'll
So
get
we
a
will
written...
see you then again when you come back for site plan approval.
Okay, that's if we're going to develop the property, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and as far as the 10% recreation fee, we don't need to indicate that on the record, that they have made a choice?
Isn't that an automatic,
It is automatic, but it's maybe wearing belt and suspenders to say that the approval is conditioned upon the payment of a 10% recreational fee, and make that a condition of your approval.
okay, we are now having an addendum to our original motion to have the 10% recreational fee requirement added to it.
And that's been, I'd just like to amplify that that's been selected by the applicant, that's their choice,
That's correct.
and they've agreed to that.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
I just wanted
Okay, now we go to number 7. You can use this as you wish.
I guess the village zone's part of the law.
Yeah, I guess we,
Our next commission is 395 Columbus Avenue for site plan approval.
It's a piece of property which is different from the use. I guess, yeah, well, but it's regarding the merger as opposed to what he's using it for. It's the nature of the property's kept. how the property is divided up in the ownership, I think. I'm assuming. I'll ask John.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. My name is Leonard Brandis, Brandis Architects. I have Dennis and Tina Kearns with me here. They're the owners of the property. And I just will move over to the diagrams to show what's going on. The existing house is on Columbus Avenue, backing up onto the railroad tracks. It is a totally non-conforming lot. The backyard is about 5 feet as opposed to 30 feet of a normal yard. And when these houses, all these houses along this block were all set up the same, basically they were given a side yard instead of a backyard to use for their recreation. And this is the existing house the way it is with the garage. And the house over here is about 7.5 feet between the two spaces right now. Photographs of the house, front of the house with the garage. It's a side view of the garage itself. The garage is in very much disrepair and we want to take it down. It's in bad shape. And we'd like to be able to make use of the house itself. The yard itself is also on a steep hill. So right now, the house has no access to the yard except coming out to the front door, across the sidewalk, and then into the yard itself. So we got up through the basement, which is also, it's not a finished basement, so it's not a comfortable space. So what we'd like to do is to create a new garage area, which will now have landscaping in the front, turning the garage and creating a wood deck between it. So from the first floor, we can go out onto the deck, have a big play space over here, have a play area over here, and also that we can now park more than 2 cars. Right now, the parking is the 1 car in the garage and 1 car on the street, basically coming out into the street on the driveway itself. So this will give us additional 2 spaces here, 2 spaces in here, and if possible another car if we need to have. So we now have parking that's taken off the street where before everything was on the street. We're also, now the neighbors themselves, as you can take a look down here, this is also our neighbor, this is the town parking lot, and that's adjacent to us right here. And it shows in the, you can see it in the photograph up here. And so we want to have a buffer from that as well. So we want to create a screening with trees across there. The idea is to raise this land up also by creating a retaining wall using Versalock walls, and then setting up this as a more or less more level to the street side itself. So now we can come into the yard, have a usable yard to work with. The neighborhood itself, the streets right now, there are hardly any grass areas. There are some on retaining walls. The majority of the areas have just basically all streets and sidewalk. People are parking right off the street onto their houses. We do have a 10-foot curb. There was an issue before. I had a 15-foot. We modified that to a 10-foot curb cut over here. But as I said, over here, this is, I don't know, 200-foot curb cut. There is no curb. But we are trying to improve this street by creating a soft area over here and improving the whole lot. The town had also asked for a planting plan, which I have a small version if you wish to look at that.
He said 10-foot curb cut.
Thank you.
He said
It's
10.
easier to see it on this small
Yeah,
plan.
we can.
I have large plans to submit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we are trying to create we want some seasonal coverage with dogwood, and we have rhododendron in here and boxwoods coming across, so we can get in some arborvitae, so we get some tall, seeing some breakup of this. It's not all just one landscape itself. And then we have the grass lawn, which will also become, the driveway will also be good because they have little kids. We have a gate in front of this where the kids can ride their bicycles, and basically the tricycles right now. They have their first child going into kindergarten. It's very exciting for them right now. They're very happy about all that. The building itself,
This is the garage, correct?
this is the garage itself. We're doing the garage, which is over here. We're doing fencing, and there's plantings in front over here. The garage itself is staying at just under 15 feet tall, so it stays within the code. We did get full variances. We already went to the zoning board, and because this is such a non-conforming lot, there is no way to meet any of the side yards or rear front yards. So we did get variances for everything already from the zoning board. The materials we're going to be using match the house. We have vinyl siding, which is a Dutch lap. So it's going to be matching the house in terms of all the detail on the house. We have the thin line, it's going to be the weathered wood to match the house. That's the roof. So everything matches in with everything. And is there any questions about Elsie's? There's questions on the fence itself. And I don't have a copy of the front fence, and the back is the other side has the other side down there. The taller fence, the semi-private fence as they call it, the Huntington Gate. So you have materials to look at. The Versa block is basically going to be visible on the back side of the property, facing the railroad tracks. It could be actually over in the back over here. So with the Versalock, we have that. We want to go with a desert blend. The Versalock catalog and color sheets. That's the one. Desert blend. This is the material itself. And once again, that faces the tracks. And the inside, you really don't see that because it's all below grade. That's all what's holding up the retaining wall. So,
And this is where? I'm sorry, because
let's go back to the plan over here. Make it easy. This is right here, along
Okay.
this wall here.
okay.
And that's facing the tracks. And there'll also be a little bit of wall right over here by the town. The town already has a retaining wall there. We'll be running up to that wall itself.
Doesn't plan to.
I have a question. I'm a little confused. You say the garage is in bad condition. Are you taking it down completely and building a new
Yes.
garage?
We are taking the garage down and relocating. The garage right now is over here,
Right.
which would be right about here. That's very close to the house. It's right over here. So if you look down, here's the space right here between the garage and the house right now. Here's a photograph of it.
I understand that you're
It's very tight.
relocating it. I just want to be clear
We
that,
are removing it completely and
all
putting
right.
a new foundation, new garage completely. We're raising it up also. It's not going to be set down into the ground the way it is right now. If you look at this one, you can see how far down
Right.
it goes down.
Right.
This is now going to be more level with the street so that we now have a yard that we can drive in
so it
safely.
is a new building, just
Yes.
just oriented a different
We're renting a
way.
different way so that we can easily drive in without having to back around or anything like that. And also when you come out, we can go in, back out, and head straight out facing the street as opposed to going on the street. The street's a very crowded street, but it's also very narrow. This is a dangerous street as far as I'm concerned. And I like to make sure that people can see where they're going when they're backing out of a, that they don't have to back out of a driveway so that they don't hit anybody on the sidewalk or coming on the street. I know it is, I think it's the area where it just starts to go to a 25-mile-an-hour zone because of all the accidents, I'm sure, is one of the issues.
And the exterior finishes you're putting on, are those the identical finishes that are on
This is what's
the
matching the house, yes.
current of the house itself?
Yes, the house was redone different than, you can see this has the
Right.
Dutch lap. You can see, actually, you can see in this photograph, see the shadow line of the Dutch lap in there, which is coming through there. That's this shadow we get from here.
Okay. And when the gate's going to be at the beginning of the entrance to the new driveway?
It sets in
Right there?
the gates first.
And that's just going to be posts, and adjacent to the
Posts.
posts are going to be shrubbery and foliage and,
Yes. the
plantings?
shrubbery. Well, I don't want too much shrubbery because you want to be able to see out. So you can't put shrubbery right up against the gate. You want to be able to have the car see where they're going.
okay, my
Make sure they
concern
see
is,
it.
are you going to run the gate along the front, in front of the
gate along the
shrubbery?
front.
Or is it just a gate protecting the garage driveway?
Does it run on the periphery of the property along the
gate
street?
runs- Yes, it does. The gate is running from the edge here,
Oh.
going across here, going across, and then back over here.
Oh, it
The gate
does?
is running there, and in the elevation, we are showing the gate right here. This
Okay,
is the fencing that we're referring to.
okay. And how high is that gate? Yeah.
This one goes up to 3'6" in the front. The one over here, the privacy gate, which is over here, is 5 feet high. That's facing the deck itself. That's right over here, that one section here, so you have some privacy over here. And then back gate over here is 6 feet, like it is existing now.
Okay.
And the fence along the south side of the property where the bushes are,
Once again, that would be the 5 foot.
the chain link,
Yes.
that's the chain link, with the
Yes, but we're now putting the.
lattice chain link.
Yes, but we're putting the plantings over here now
Right,
to give us some privacy.
right.
And the color of the gate is what? It's white?
Will certainly improve the whole street's presence itself. That'll improve it.
And the color of the gate is presumably the white in this small photograph or something real close to
Yes,
that?
it's something to that. They make a
Cream,
gate,
white.
gate. They make a potential gate that matches it.
And I know I brought this up at the work session. It's my understanding that the house is in fact a two-family house
Yes, it is.
with
So
two
they
separate
go together.
entrances.
Yes.
Uh,
In front of the
and-
house, you can see the 2 doors right here.
And as I understand it, there is not a tenant in the other portion of the house at the
At this
current
present time, there is no tenant that, the owners are using the whole house right now.
All right, and should there be a tenant at some point, that tenant would be given access for parking purposes to
Yes.
this garage and parking
As per
area?
code, since we are trying to meet code as much as we can.
Okay, I just want to bring that up and put that out there because, you know, I don't know if they've gone through the
Presently, there's
walls
no-
in the house. so
Presently, there's no parking for tenants at all.
I would assume as much if the owners themselves are having so much trouble. But also, because the owners are having so much trouble, to also consider the possible future tenant who's going to have the same problem. And you want to
Yeah.
minimize that or avoid that if at all possible.
But you have enough room
Enough
there
parking
to
for
park
everybody,
if
yeah.
you do have a tenant. But until a tenant does come, that is not going to be rented out to anyone else.
No, this is not.
Okay.
This
Oh,
is-
okay.
This is their home, they're raising their children, they have little children.
Okay.
And this way they can have a yard.
Okay.
And they can be out there, and people can watch them from the yard.
Right.
From the house itself, can watch them here. This is all for kids to be able to use the property properly.
Okay, on this side, I don't have the garage elevations in front of me. Can we look at that again? The side that's going to face the street on the garage is, what is it going to show to the street? It looks like 3 windows?
3 windows, and then we have a flower box under the windows.
Okay.
But this is the front of the garage itself, so if you're driving down the street, well, actually, what you're going to end up seeing, instead of seeing right now, where you have, it's pretty much an eyesore as you're driving down, you're now going to have trees over here, and you'll have a nice little building here. So it's going to improve the whole look of this neighborhood.
Yeah, I was a little
This is a huge improvement to the neighborhood itself.
I was a little concerned that the side showing to the street would be a blank wall and no effort at decorative elements was attempted, but it looks like you
we
have
have.
made that effort, and that looks fine to me.
Thank you.
Could you use the microphone, Terry?
You pointed out before, just to make sure that there's clearance out in front by the driveway. It looks like the arborvitae that are alongside, you may want to push those back a little bit so that as you're coming out of the driveway, you're not being blocked by that nice evergreen.
Oh,
Yeah.
This would be a small, just take
One or two, I mean, because when you're
You do
you're
want
back
to
a little
see
bit
out.
further. Right, so you may want to take...
These are lower, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Right. And you have all of the agreement in place with MTA for any disturbances that you have in the rear?
They've been notified of everything, they've been notified, they've been mailed, they've been certified mailed, and everything else. I did speak with their engineers, they called me, they asked me what we're using, and I told them the burst block, which is what they prefer.
Okay.
Because it doesn't require any cranes or anything. This is all done by hand.
Okay,
So that's what they prefer. They don't want to see machines in there, they want to see, people doing it. There is a distance between them and the
Right.
tracks, but this way we're not going below the tracks, we're not undermining the tracks. This
Right.
is way above it, so.
well, my concern is that there's a steep slope in the back of that area, and right now there's just, there's sapling trees there, they aren't big trees or anything, but even a minimal disturbance on those steep slopes can sometimes have, that's pretty slope dropping off
Right.
on the back of it.
We're on the other side
Right,
of that slope.
right.
There is a small.
Right,
road
right.
there right now.
A
We're
small-
on the other side of that.
So
we're
you,
starting from there, and the way the material works, the way it's built, is that they put in 2 rows, and then they put in a fabric that actually comes into our property.
Right.
As we're filling, we then compress that fabric on that, and then we put another couple of rows. The fabric goes across the whole thing. It's a plastic fabric membrane that stays there for permanently. And that's what actually is what's holding the wall in.
and the way
that's
that...
done without concrete, so there's no debris or anything else going down.
Right, I understand that. The fencing that is going to be mounted, is it going to be mounted on top of it or in back of the
On top of
wall?
on top of the wall.
And that is going to be using like fence posts that are drilled into the uniblock
Now
wall?
it has a cap and it goes on top.
And then a sleeve on
Yes.
top of that that gets
Exactly.
connected? Okay. I was just, my main concern also was just for the back, that is stabilized. If there's any disturbances that are along that slope, and I'm sure
Right, well, that's
MTA
why they
will make
prefer
care of that.
to do the product,
Right.
Because it doesn't disturb the other side at all. We
Right.
don't have to be out there, we don't touch it.
So you actually
It's
think
a very
that
simple
most of those
process.
sapling trees won't even be disturbed on that side?
Well, the ones that are down lower, yeah, those over there, those won't be disturbed.
Yeah.
They're
Okay,
not
good.
gonna be anywhere near it. There's no real foundation required. for this.
Right,
There's no big
right.
footings.
Yeah,
And
that is the
that's
beauty
what-
of
that's
it,
the beauty of
exactly,
this material.
exactly. Okay. And I see you just have a flowering tree out in front, and that would be fine as well. You may also want to have a canopy tree, but that's to the owner's discretion. It's nice to have a little bit of shade out for the kids.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
I make a motion, we accept the proposal as presented.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
This is an extra if you want any, just have a couple of extras.
Do we need this?
Bill, do you have one of these?
I have a
Do you-
full size.
Okay, I'll hold on to it. I'll bring it down.
Do
Okay.
you want these? Or-
Yeah, excuse me, do you want
Mr.
these?
Francis, you want these back?
Yes.
We're going to have a meeting, we got one in June, right? Have one coming in June, at the drugstore.
We have adjourned, so I think... Okay, there being no additional submissions, do we have a motion to end the meeting?
I
So
move
moved.
that we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.